When my wife and I moved into the apartment, we told ourselves it was a fresh beginning. A new city, unfamiliar streets, different air. We were a Black African couple starting over, carrying our accents, our laughter, and our hope with us. My wife returned to her nursing job almost immediately. Her uniforms hung neatly by the door, smelling faintly of disinfectant and fatigue. I admired her strength, the way she carried compassion even after long shifts. Across the hall lived an elderly white woman. She was gentle, warm, and welcoming. The first time she saw us, she smiled widely and said we reminded her of sunshine. She brought us pastries one evening and asked about our move. Her kindness felt sincere, and for a moment, I thought we had been lucky with our neighbors. Then there was her son. He was around 30, unemployed, always lingering in the hallway like a shadow that refused to move. From the beginning, his eyes followed us with open hostility. There was no confusion about it. This wasn't moodiness or misunderstanding. It was racism, raw and unapologetic. The first incident was subtle enough that we almost questioned ourselves. Dirty water poured directly in front of our apartment door one morning, soaking our doormat. Another day, trash appeared there. Food scraps, empty cans. We cleaned it up quietly. As Black people, we had learned too early how easily complaints could be dismissed, how often anger could be turned against us. But then he said it out loud. One evening, as I walked past him in the corridor, he laughed and said, "People like you don't belong here." He didn't whisper. He didn't flinch. Another time, he told my wife directly that he hated Black people and didn't want to see us in the building. Each word landed like a slap. Every time, his mother followed behind him, embarrassed and apologetic. She begged us to ignore him, explaining that he had changed since his divorce, that he was depressed, bitter, lost. She said, "Please don't take it personally." But how do you not take hatred personally when it is aimed at your skin, your existence? On my birthday, we decided to reclaim joy anyway. We invited a few friends, other Black Africans from different parts of the city. We cooked food that reminded us of home. We laughed loudly, shared stories, teased one another. For a few hours, our apartment felt safe and alive. Then came the knocking. Not a polite knock, not even an annoyed one. It was violent, demanding. When I opened the door, he stood there shaking with rage. "You're disturbing me," he yelled. "You people are always noisy." We apologized, even though it was still early, even though no one else had complained. He stormed off, muttering insults about Black people under his breath. Doors along the hallway cracked open and shut quickly. No one said a word. After that night, the racism became bolder. He insulted us openly. He stared us down. He told us he hated us to our faces. We reported everything to the caretaker of the building, again and again. Nothing changed. Eventually, my wife and I began planning to move out. Peace is expensive, but fear costs more. Then one night, late, silent, heavy, everything changed. A loud bang shook our door. Then another. I jumped out of bed, my heart racing. Before I reached the handle, a voice broke through the wood. "Please, help me!" When I opened the door, it was him, the racist who had humiliated us, the man who poured dirt at our doorstep. He was crying uncontrollably. "My mom," he sobbed. "She collapsed. I don't know what to do." There was no discussion, no hesitation. My wife was already pulling on her jacket. We rushed into their apartment. His mother lay on the floor, barely conscious. The room was filled with panic. My wife knelt beside her immediately, calm and professional. She checked her breathing, her pulse, lifted her legs, spoke reassurance into her ear. I called the ambulance, my hands shaking as I explained the emergency. The son paced the room, crying, whispering apologies to a God he had ignored while hating his creations. When the paramedics arrived, they took over quickly. One of them nodded at my wife with respect. We waited in the hallway, the same hallway where hatred had lived so comfortably just days before. The woman survived. 4 days later, she was discharged from the hospital. That evening, there was a knock at our door. Soft. Careful. The mother stood there with her son beside her. She invited us into her apartment. Her son could barely look at us. When he finally spoke, his voice broke completely. He apologized, not defensively, not reluctantly, but with shame. "If you hadn't helped," he said, crying openly, "my mother would be dead. I treated you badly because you're black." We accepted his apology, not because the past disappeared, but because compassion had proven itself stronger than hatred. We still plan to move out. Some wounds don't vanish overnight. Even in the face of racism, our humanity remained intact.